Okay. All right. All right. And so I'm really curious how someone almost gets talked into getting pied in the face. That's a pretty awesome story. You need to share.
I did get talked into it. They got video documentation and everything.
Ah, yeah, you have to share that with us. Maybe put a link in the ePortfolio. I think that's going above and beyond. So I just wanted to say hello to everyone. I'm guessing my speakers, yeah, I didn't have my speakers checked back. And so as annoying as I was, we don't have the STEM FLP presenting out today. So instead of the STEM FLP, we're going to use today to catch up with each other, but also I wanted to, no, let's see. Yeah, I wanted to share some lit motivation. I don't know if you guys can see that there was this Cornell University study. You guys can see that?
Where are we seeing this?
Am I sharing my screen?
I see March reminders.
That looked like Ashley's screen.
Slide number 4. I'm seeing slide number 4 on somebody's screen.
Damn it.
On Beth's screen.
No, I got it. I got it. Hold on. There. Did that work?
Yep.
Yeah, now I'm seeing
Okay.
some lit motivation.
Yeah, it's that. Okay, I have too many screens. So I wanted to share with you guys that Cornell actually came out with this study. So they also have this published in a physics education journal. Just quickly to motivate ourselves and feel good about the work that we do. That they did 3 different groupings, 50 students, 50 students, 50 students. One did a moon kind of simulation where you put the moon on your pencil, like a ball on the pencil, and like rotate around and get the feel of the moon phases. The second group of 50 did a computer simulation, and the third group did the Unity 3-dimensional virtual reality type of engagement. And they saw actually no difference across the different students. And also when students found out afterwards if they had a choice of the delivery method, most of them said that they would like to do the VR, right? And the few who said that they didn't want to do the VR actually said that it was because they didn't feel like they had a body. So in this simulation, you were kind of just within this solar system kind of thing. And so Cornell's actually working on putting a body now into the simulation so people can kind of feel like they have a body while they engage. Right? So just feel good about what we're doing. No difference, or better, right? All right, so I shared that with everyone. Also, this tiny bit, just your titles and abstracts for the May meeting are due today. Some of you guys have that in the spreadsheet already.
The abstracts are due today?
Yeah. And so if you go to the Google Sheet, this abstract, so most of us have titles, this abstract part. And again, Haiwan and Paul are going to fill this in, so they're teaching right now. They're not able to make it. Right. And so I think that I'll check in with
just so you know, since we'll be broadly advertising this, that's the reason for that. I wanted a little leeway to give folks.
Yeah.
So, and and maybe I can take a minute and say,
yeah, please.
I welcome suggestion in this, but I'll basically invite your chairs, your deans, and so forth, and both the science and the engineering deans. So just know that that's why I want this to be looking good for you. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any questions about that? Also, JP, do you want me to put together a tentative program from what we get?
Oh, sorry. I mean, yes, it would be nice. And, eventually you're going to get Outlook invite each one of you, that's targeted. That's what I'm about to do when this is done. Okay.
Oh, okay. So I was wondering if I could put together a program with the titles.
Really nice. That would be really nice. Yeah.
I think that would be nice to give out to people and helpful for me. Okay. And so that is kind of on the agenda for today, getting that done. And let's go back. Hold on. All right, so we want to finalize the lineup. And then also JP had an email sent out to everyone that was requesting student emails for the classes the Lit redesign is being implemented in. And so here's a plug for everyone to remember to send their students emails.
And some of you here have, there is no, basically folks, there is no reason for you to delay because I waited after census so that you have a final roster, but census is long gone. So you just go into your, whatever your LMS system is and basically provide that to me as a file. I provided you a file template for that. So I appreciate it.
Any questions on that?
Oh, so JP, I'm working on getting it up. They don't make it easy here. They don't give us any emails, so I have to track it down from the official higher ups, and so they're working on it for me, but they're being a little slow.
Okay, that's a good reason, Matt. I mean, obviously, we asking for this about 3 weeks earlier so that we can deal with folks like yourself that have a more difficult path. But most people, it's really going to the LMS and doing an extract. Thank you. So Dennis, are you here? I need yours.
Yeah, he's here.
I'm
He's
here.
not answering when I'm asking him. We also need e-portfolio stuff. Actually, he's not here, but I should do the browbeating for these folks. How's that?
Yeah, so stage 3 was due last February, this past month ago. So I haven't seen the e-portfolios, but I can check in with Ashley over the next couple of weeks with the programming too, because I think that I want to make sure that the programming kind of aligns, and maybe we can give each other helpful feedback and nudges on some content areas that need some work. All right.
So let me say to all of you, those of you who are here, I want you to look super good on the May presentation. I also frankly want to use you to inspire the new crop of Lit folks. How's that? So there's two parts to my madness here. I want you to have something that, really kind of looks really good.
Yeah, and also I kind of want to plug, so there was the CSUY Teaching and Learning Conference this past week, and a lot of the Chancellor's Office people were here, and a lot of people from across the CSU. I don't know if any of you guys were able to make it, but the redesign folks did have a session. And Emily Magruder, I think that there's going to be pushed moving forward. And these portfolios that you guys are doing are much more relevant, I think, today than the older e-portfolios. So the technologies have changed. A lot of things have changed. And so the work that you're doing, I think, is really going to benefit a lot of people. So these portfolios, again, like next year at the CSUY Teaching and Learning Conference, we can actually kind of give out. And so we shared some best examples. People had a lot of great questions. They don't know what to do. And so your portfolios will help a lot of people. So we'll actually be using them. And again, I really feel like they're more relevant than the older ones. Okay. So if you have any questions on that, the CSU-wide Learning Conference, Teaching and Learning Conference went great. All right. And all right. Also, I didn't know, JP, if you wanted to plug the upcoming RFP. So last time we said that it was going to be mid-March and early April, but I updated it to late March and mid-April.
Yeah, that is correct. And that's why when I was saying that, I want to use these folks' May presentation as really kind of the showcase for the new Lit group. That's what I meant.
Yes.
Because as the RFP comes back, there's nothing better than your colleagues watching, what you did and be inspired by it. I can talk all I want. It's just hot air. How's that?
No one listens to you, JP. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. So having you, and I'll put a plug in the future. I hope you stay connected and see yourself as somewhat more of an advisory role after that.
Yeah. All right. So we'll hear more about that. Also, so stage 3 was due last month. For those of you who are still working on it, it's just what you are going to redesign. And stage 4, we have a couple months. People are implementing now. And so the last stage, and some things to kind of consider between now and the last stage, or if you want to start working on the last stage, which I highly recommend, what are you finding? Are you getting some feedback from students? One of our great CSU cohort, Allison, she actually uses students, she asks all the time, like, Is this working for you? What do you feel like? Is there something not working with this technology? She was doing a lot of screen capturing and stuff like that. Lessons learned, all right? So what are you learning as you implement? And then an overall instructor reflection, all right? So this sums up the detailed parts of part 4. And again, we'll go more on the next meeting we have. Ashley, I think, will walk us through each of those specific content areas, all right? So kind of what are you finding, the data eventually, student feedback, what are you hearing from the students? So again, like this Cornell research showed that the students wanted VR. The lessons learned, all right? And then your own reflection, all right? Mostly, I think CSU should do more of this. That would be nice, at all of our reflections. Any questions on that? All right, and talking about implementing, sorry. Okay, there's this update. So if you go to this CC Tiny whatever, and I think I put the link to the Google Doc also in the chat. All right, so if I click on that, it goes to the update. All right, there are a couple ways to get there. You can do this HTTP tiny one too, right? And what I'd like everyone to do is go into this now and just spend about 5 minutes. What are you doing now? And really focusing on your implementation. So you're implementing, what are you finding? And I'll put this prompt up there. So
I don't think that tiny CC took me to a different page.
Oh, I might have done things wrong.
Oh,
No,
no, you do have to capitalize the lit, which usually doesn't matter for, but okay. All good.
Right. And so I'm going to leave on the screen kind of the stage 4 stuff, just to keep that in mind while you're writing. So it'd be helpful at this point, I think, to think about and start formulating ideas on your findings, the student feedback, what are you learning, and kind of some early reflection. And I'm going to eat while you guys do that.
Hello. Hi, Pat. Hello, Pat.
Hello.
Hi, Pat. This is Wincy. I couldn't find the file you just show us. I tried to editing that file.
Which file?
Remember you open the Word file. You said if I understanding you correctly, seems like you ask us to update.
Yes.
And I couldn't open that file. I just go back and check all my email from Ashley. I couldn't find that file. Would you, how I can get that file?
Are you able to see the chat?
I click it. Yeah, I can see now.
So on the chat, I think JP also has it.
Okay.
There should be some links. Let me know if that didn't work.
Okay. I click now. And also my I'm in my lab now, so that's the reason my computer didn't show my name, but it shows 0000506 and 007.
Thank you.
Yeah, just in case you wonder. Okay.
Yes.
That's me. Okay.
You were covert agent.
Yes.
yeah. Seems like.
Thank you for joining from the lab.
Oh, no problem. I'm just too busy today, and yeah.
Okay, everyone's kind of wrapping up. I'm going to give about 1 more minute. And if you need to type still, please continue typing. I'm looking at what you guys are writing, and I'm also looking at the same time back at your portfolios, and I also watched the pie throwing thing. That's awesome. And so maybe we can share out and have a small discussion about the work that you guys are doing. So Ben, I see that you're pretty much done. And I'm curious if you want to share kind of what you did with the learning assistants, and then kind of what's the difference between this semester and last semester?
Yeah. So the big thing in my class was integrating a new curriculum. Am I muted? Hopefully people can hear me. No, okay, I'm good. Was integrating the Next Gen PET curriculum and kind of all its associated technological tools. And so Next Gen PET is a course, a physical science course designed for future teachers, particularly looking at future elementary teachers, but also like future middle school science teachers. And so it's so designed to get students engaged in developing scientific knowledge rather than just consuming it. And so there's a lot of hands-on activities, which is where the learning assistants come in, because students are going through guided inquiry activities, and from which they can they can develop Newton's laws. They can come up with how energy is flowing through a system. They create models of magnetism. And so the LAs help with the small groups to be able to do all of those kind of small group conversations and have that all working. They also provide me a lot of feedback because they're points of contact with the groups with a different perspective. And they're students who have already taken the course. And so we meet to plan every week and talk about what's going well, what's not going well, how do we do things better. So they're kind of critical to my success in there and being able to do it. And then on the technology side, we also do a lot with simulations, especially with kind of making the invisible visible, things like what do field lines look like and all these different things. So there's kind of like the high tech stuff with simulations and online assessments, and then there's low tech but still tech, like the use of whiteboards, which we use a ton of, where students have to draw out their models and share with the class, and they think, well, what's different in their model, my model, and how does this is this commensurate with the evidence we see, and what can they explain, what can it not explain, and doing those sorts of things. So there's the very broad umbrella. I made the big change last semester, and so this semester it's doing it again and trying to make it better. But it's not like we're installing a lot of new stuff this semester.
I'm curious how you would scale it if you were to maybe increase that across your department or across a school.
Yeah. The nice thing is the technology scales very easily. Limitations to scaling is classroom space. You really want to have a space where students can work collaboratively. So a lecture hall is not a great setting for it. So we've got lab and lecture, and in the lecture, I always have to try to find a room where students can move the seats around because the lecture looks just like the lab. It's just that it's called a different thing. And it has all the students at once. Instead of having like 2 labs of 24, I've got 1 lecture of 48. And so that's where I really need the LAs, when we get those bigger settings to keep that many groups working, productively, in small group discussions is a lot trickier. Getting space, getting faculty who kind of know how to use the curriculum, and having LAs to support it would be the kind of cost of scaling.
And then I have one more question, then I'll allow other people to ask questions. I'm curious, in thinking about like a faculty center for excellence or something like that, and in thinking of like the learning centers for students. And so I'm thinking about like SI leaders, like this to me kind of spans both like the faculty kind of development side plus kind of developing that kind of student affairs component. Would you see the learning assistants maybe on a bigger model kind of under the umbrella of a learning center or something like that? Or do you think that, I'm curious basically if you think how the faculty affairs, professional development works together with the student affairs thing?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So, so at Chico State, we have SIs and LAs and all this. And I run the LA program here for everyone. And I would love for it, though, to not be run, through me. It'd be great if we had a center that did all of it. And LAs are really meant to both support student learning, but also to develop faculty. I mean, that is one of their roles, is to help faculty think creatively and critically about their own practices and hopefully implement new things, right? New transformed activities that are more student-centered. And so that's really where these sorts of, stuff like the next gen pet curriculum used, and it's really designed to go very well with, this with LAs, get these small groups and getting students to help students engage in that, not as a supplementary thing, but as kind of a core component of the class, as the core component of the class. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, I like it. And I just want to see it everywhere.
I agree.
So I will stop asking questions. If anybody else wants to ask a question, I think Ben's portfolio again, and I looked at the others too. Each of you have really strong portfolios, but if you want to take a look at each other's, I highly recommend it. Any other questions? If not, can we watch the pie launching?
Yeah, let's see that.
All right. So this is so awesome. So Matthew, is it okay if I show everyone?
Sure.
Best professor ever. That is the biggest high impact practice I can recommend to anyone. All right, so that's great. Matthew, do you want to talk a little bit about what you've been working on?
Sure. But yeah, I think a student got some catharsis out of that. He's been working with me on this project. I think this project, mine's been a little bit different than I think a lot of the others here, in that it's more kind of hardware and physical based instead of the virtual reality based. So really, so far, all of this efforts has been kind of putting this all together and getting ready for a pretty late launch. But it's right after spring break. It's these labs, and the idea was give students a chance to build their own testing systems, take them home, play with them on their own, and that way they get to see not just the experiments that you would see in class in a lab system here, but kind of what goes into it, what goes into the data collection, what do you need to put this all together. And so I've been working with these couple students here that have been pretty fantastic. Kind of, they've been helping me design this whole system from scratch, from the ground up, and they've got it working now, which is exciting. A relief also a couple weeks ago when we finally got it going. But we're getting ready for a big launch again right after spring break, which means right now I'm kind of covering the lecture material, the theory of what this is going to cover, and then I'll get a chance to put it in action and see. It's just all for right now. I'm aiming for this idea of viscoelasticity, looking at kind of time-dependent behavior and things they wouldn't have seen necessarily in other classes. And this is kind of designing the basic system, but moving forward, if this all works out, I want to start expanding it, trying different materials, different applications to expand it with. And I've been talking with our chair. He's pretty excited about getting this all wrapped up in kits that we can hand out to the community college nearby, since most of our several community colleges, since a bunch of our students are transferring in and their budgets are pretty limited. The system, the whole thing looks to be, less than $100 per kit. And that's just on a relatively small scale. So if we can keep that going and scaling up, I think it'll be pretty exciting.
Do you have a picture of it in the portfolio, the kit?
Not yet. We just, okay. I think I'll have one coming up, take some pictures and some SolidWorks models and some other stuff on what it all looks like. But
I'm curious if the students who you're working with say, oh, I wish that I had a class like that.
A little, yeah. They've liked it, and the students that took this class last year have all been pretty upset that they didn't get a hands-on component to play with things. Mm-hmm. Actually, one of the students who's took this class from me last year, and he's been saying how much he kind of wishes he had this at the time.
Yeah, that's really cool that you can involve them in the redesign. I'm really curious to see what they experience and kind of what they think. And I'd love to see not just pictures of Pi, but also the pictures of the kit. I'm really curious kind of what that looks like.
Yeah, I'll put them up there. And once I get these instruction videos, the students are putting their own little flair on that. So I'll post all of that as well.
All right, thank you for sharing. That's so awesome. All right. Dennis was also at the Teaching and Learning Conference, so he can also plug how important the ePortfolio and this work will probably be in the future. I think it will be really impactful. And also kind of what you're doing with the logic circuit training.
Maybe we got someone else. Dennis having microphone problem is trying to.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Wincy, would you want to share from the lab?
Sure. Yes. So last semester, we mainly focused on the Get a Video lecture finished. So the university faculty center actually helped us videotape about 10 videos for the robotic class. And then at the end of the semester, I get feedback and mainly ask students 2 questions. One is how they think about the video lecture, because I divide the students into 2 groups. One group physically attend the lecture in the class, another group just watch a video. So I get 100% student side. They really like videos because they can actually use that to review exam and try to understand the things better, and they can repeatedly watch video many times. So 100% students really like videos. And my second question to students in the survey, ask a student what they think if we allow the student to do experiment instead of in a physical lab, but remotely, either run with a virtual lab or teleoperating robot. So students can remotely access internet and link their computer to our lab computer so we can control robot. For that part, no student like the virtual lab or the remote control operated lab. They all prefer to be physically in the lab, to see things move, to use their hands. So I will share that feedback video later. And this semester, we mainly focus on implementation phase. So what we did is we get a framework done, and we have our college technician help us install some software like a team viewer, so students can actually remotely do the lab at the same time. And we also visited the Omron Adaptive Company and mainly try to see we are not behind if we use a teleoperated robot. So we want to very detail from what kind of programming we use, how about we use Python, and how other MATLAB. So we have a very deep discussion with the company and what kind of support they may give to us. So currently we ordered 2 web camera. Each camera will be mounted at a different location and different angle. So students can actually, when they remotely operate a robot, they can see how robots moves. So we did that part. And also when we have a college technician to revise our plan, they also mentioned safety issues. So we decided we're going to put a frame around the robot. So if in case a student remotely operate a robot, no one in the lab get hurt. So that's what we about it, and we are excited to later can show some video demo and try out.
This sounds really great. Yeah, so you had people from health and safety, the safety people, or it was the IT technology people?
Yeah, we have a software technician in our college because they control lab software. We cannot install anything ourselves. So that's the reason we have to get their involved to help us install all the software and also internet access. They control internet access as well for every computer in the lab. So so the directly actually Anderson Lee, he helped us on that part.
Do you think that all universities would be able to do this?
Oh yeah, they already did it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they help us install the software because I don't have authority to install any software in my lab. I have to go through IT people.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking, like, I feel like if somebody was to ask that here, our IT people would be like, oh, we can't do that. But no.
Oh,
like,
they do it. They support,
okay.
they actually, yeah, they can remotely monitor every computer in my lab.
Gee, this is
Yeah,
really
I have a 10 computer in my lab. Every computer is labeled for different number. For example, this time we installed the software in computer number 2. So I have to tell them which computer they install.
Yes. So I find this very fascinating for several reasons. So this is really awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Okay,
I
you're
think
welcome.
students love remote sensing. And so anytime they're able to do remote things, I think that they become so fascinated. So we have students who want to do drones on campus and collect some data. And we're having a lot of problems being able to do that. So that's why I'm fascinated. I think this is great. I want to see more of it, but we've had some hurdles here on campus.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so you'll have some videos on your portfolio?
Yeah, later at the end of a semester, we're going to create a video and also show the whole process.
And so the students really like the videos, it sounds like.
Oh, the video lecture, yes, they love it. And they actually university own because I asked university to videotape, the only university own the copyright. And I tell students they can only watch it, they can't record. But I believe some students, they like lecture, the video lecture so much, I think they record themselves.
Okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, usually in the cases I read, and Ben might have more to say on this, I think that students usually prefer face-to-face, but this sounds like a little different, like they actually like the video.
Yeah, they love video. They 100%. I get 100% feedback. They just like a video, and they tell me I activate the video. They said don't remove it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You're doing something right.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for catching me up and teaching me what you guys have all been up to. Dennis, are you able to talk?
Okay. I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, wow. All right. That's good. Let me turn some stuff down there. Okay, great. So, we were pretty much targeting for the summer. So we're doing sort of a soft launch here in the spring. Put together a series of other videos and simulations of the different logic circuits and everything in Multisim. We were trying to use the 3D projection. They had like a little breadboard in Multisim that would kind of let you sort of see the problem was the particular components that we're using don't show up correctly in there. So that spawned another little project that we're looking off of Sarah Cassis's work at Sonoma State. So I gave some ideas, and so we've been developing some things in Unity, so they actually have like a little breadboard that they can put the little components on and everything. So we're looking at doing that particular type of thing on the but that's not ready for this particular semester just yet. But another thing that we were working on too was some work based off of Falstad had a website up. What was interesting about their circuits was that they would show little dots for the electrons flowing in the circuit. And so the electrons would flow faster. I mean, the little dots would go faster if it was, you know, less resistance, more current flow. So it was analogous to the current flow. And then if it was a higher resistance, there would be less current flow, so the dots would move a lot slower. These were conceptual pieces that really seem to help students along when they don't have really a lot of exposure to the to electronics. I mean, one of the tough thing with teaching electricity is that it's not really tangible. You can't really see it. You have to tell everybody, yeah, that, you know, there's really electrons flowing in the wire, and they're kind of going like, yeah, sure there are. Anyway, so we're trying to look at ways in which to kind of bring that out. And so this is where the visualization and that sort of virtual labs piece really helps in that regard. So you could spend a lot of time in lecture, and of course, you know, some of us experience that, especially in this discipline, but it's like you don't really get it until much further on. This way, just you're talking about the circuit, you can see the circuit, you can see the animation flowing through, and it really ties a lot of that stuff together. So that's been good. Also, we have a variation because this is a kind of a gateway course to upper division. This 64, so then goes to upper division, and it's gateway course into upper division, so that a lot of students need that sort of breadboard experience and everything. And then also we have to have a lot of part-time faculty, or just offer a lot of different sections. And so there's this diversity going across all these different sections, the way people are teaching it. So what I've been able to achieve this semester was they're all following my particular labs. So this is good. And then we're adding in these particular features. So it's all within it's kind of nice because it's all within the LMS, and even all I think there's 6 sections, there's 6 or 7 sections. And so they're all able to then see all the same sort of material. So it's really benefiting not just the particular targeted class that I'm doing, but across the course in the department. And then it acts as a good ground floor for the next series of courses and stuff too.
It looks like to me you also have peer instruction listed.
Yeah, so we were that was kind of interesting. So the students kind of organized some of this themselves on they're on Discord. I don't know, I'm not sure if people are familiar with Discord. Of course, the video gamers in the group would understand that one, but Discord is like a forum site, basically a lot for video gamers, so they can kind of share something. That's how they grew out of that. But then what the students have done was they've now they've organized themselves into these this tutorial type of set, and so they're kind of mentoring and helping the other students in the various topics. The idea being that what they would do is they would play. You could like meet and sort of play a game and then discuss. So they're all doing this virtually. So they're basically all wherever they are on their particular gaming stations doing their stuff and everything. But then they'll play a little bit of a game for a little bit, and then they'll go study, and then they'll play a little game, whatever. And then it's kind of a little bit different than your classic sort of supplemental instruction or PAL or peer-assisted learning type of thing. I mean, it's a variant off of that's been very interesting, helping support them in that particular aspect.
It would be cool to write up a component of that. It sounds like you have like several aspects to the portfolio to share out.
Yeah, I was working on that. I haven't quite.
Okay.
Ashley and JP were basically talking to me as well. You need your other part. Anyway, so I was delayed a little bit because I'm also setting up some links so that as I've done the write-ups and stuff like that, but I'm trying to get the links operational. So as you read through in the portfolio, then you can also jump to these particular links and see some of the stuff in action.
Yeah, thank you. This is really awesome. Yeah, and I would link it back to Sarah Casis's portfolio.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. All right, thank you guys. So I didn't have, we had speakers scheduled, but the speakers didn't come. So you guys were the speakers for today. Thank you guys for doing that. Also, I just wanted to kind of end on this. Let me see if I can do it. Yes, I did. All right, so we have Brian Dang from Seminar. So they're doing some nursing type of lab simulations. They're supposed to talk next time. If they don't, we'll have a chat ourselves. So thank you again. And then also in May, the final part of the portfolio is due, that stage 4, the data, how it went, and your reflections. And I will be in Portland, Oregon. So I will try to be here, but if not, I'm pretty sure that JP and Ashley will do a top-notch job. But again, I should be able to Zoom in, but just be aware that I might have some difficulty, but I'll do what I can to make sure I can catch up with everyone. And also we have that May 21st, 22nd Capstone Online Conference. So everybody's abstract and titles up by the end of the day, or I'm gonna come after you. And just the overall final piece. So you can use feedback that you get at that conference to finalize the portfolio. So I think that we give each other really helpful feedback. I learn a lot from you guys, and I would definitely use what I always learn from you guys in whatever I do. All right. So thank you guys again. Happy Friday. Happy post-Pi Day. Have a great weekend.
And Beth, I just wanted to say too that I think it was the teaching symposium this last weekend was really great, and there was a lot of good work that the CRT leads are doing in terms of putting together some videos and stuff, and then making the information accessible for a lot of the faculty across the system and elsewhere.
Yeah, so we're pushing the work that you guys are doing. I know that the group might not be as aware of that, so thanks for pointing that out, that there is some push by the more tenured folks, the older folks, Ray, to get this out there, because it is best practices. There is a huge amount of change needed across the system, just across education. A lot of you guys know that. And the work you're doing is not for naught. Like, you're putting a lot of time in, and we want to definitely get the biggest bang for the buck. So we are pushing. People know, people are excited about this work. Thank you guys for doing it. And yeah, have a great weekend. And next year, we should all go to the CSU Teaching and Learning Symposium.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bite, can I ask you a quick question?
Wincy, who do you want to talk to?
I have a quick question for you.
Oh, okay. I'll stay.
I know I submitted both February 15 deadline. I filled in this form before and December 21, but why my input are not shown in the table now? I just want to know.
Oh, I don't know. So I don't know if you saw, but I was having some link problems, and it could be because I copied the wrong links.
Okay.
I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's the reason I wonder why Ashley keep sending me email. I tell her I already finished everything, but don't worry, we can figure out. In that case, if you don't mind, I can email you directly, or I can directly re-enter. How about that? Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think you're alone. I think it's happened to a couple other people. I think we might have some duplicate documents, and I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. So thank you for dealing with that. And yeah, if you notice anything that we don't acknowledge that you did, same thing, just exactly what you're doing now. I know that you've participated and you've definitely put in a lot of work. So
yeah,
I definitely want to make sure you get credit for that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I am
okay. No worry. Yeah. Thank you.
No, feel free to say that again. Okay.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. Have a good
Okay.
weekend. I'm so glad
Thank you.
you joined in.
Okay, thank you again. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
And